What if I told you that your inability to say no has nothing to do with being too nice and has everything to do with your nervous system being terrified of being rejected? Because for you, saying no, it doesn't feel like you're setting a boundary. It feels like you're risking being loved, being accepted, like opening the door to being abandoned. And that's why you keep saying yes, even when you're tired, even when you feel resent, even when you're on the edge of burnout. In this video, we're going to unpack why your yes is rooted in survival, not politeness. We'll go over the psychological traps that keep you saying yes, even when you want to scream, no, leave me alone, I don't want to. And then we'll go over 5 tools that you can start using today, starting now, to say no without guilt, without shame, without fear. This is not about being rude. It's about finally reclaiming your peace. If we haven't met, I'm Jayleen. I help high-achieving eldest daughters go from feeling emotionally exhausted and burdened by responsibility to feeling worthy and important without needing to do, change, or be anything other than who they are. So if that sounds like you, you're in the right place. Like this video, subscribe to the channel. And before we dive in, take a minute, the link's in the description, take my free burnout quiz. It's a 90-second quiz. It's going to give you all of the information about what stage of burnout you're in, and then it'll give you some clear steps on how you can start your healing journey. Awareness is the first step, so click the link, take the quiz. It's totally free. Let's start here. Saying yes when you want to say no is not about being polite. Let's break that mindset. It is about survival. You learned early that being agreeable, helpful, low maintenance, that's what kept you loved. And maybe love was conditional in your family. Maybe approval was performance-based. So you become the easy one, the yes girl, the helper, the high achiever. And now as an adult, your body still associates no with rejection. It's danger, it's conflict, it's failure. It's not about people pleasing, it's about abandoning yourself in the name of maintaining those connections. And you've done it for so long that saying no feels wrong, even when saying yes is causing you physical problems. So let's take that one step deeper. These are the hidden beliefs that are keeping you stuck in that guilt loop of saying no. So number 1, fear of being seen as selfish. You are probably told that good girls say yes, so saying no now feels like a betrayal, like you're suddenly the bad one, the selfish one, cold, uncaring. But the truth is, saying no is setting a boundary. Boundaries are not selfish. Number 2, you have a fear of emotional backlash. So whether it was anger or silent treatment or emotional manipulation, somebody taught you that saying no leads to something bad. So you avoid it altogether to prevent that explosion, that emotional backlash, the guilt trip. And that fear is valid, but it is also stealing your peace. So it's something we need to undo. 3rd, you have a fear of being labeled unreliable. If I say no, they'll think I can't handle it. You have built your whole identity around being dependable, the one who shows up, the one who never drops the ball, the one everybody can count on. But now that reliability identity is draining you because you are not reliable to yourself. And that is causing the burnout, and that is causing you to not have all of your resources available to help others the way you want to. Number 4, you have deep guilt when you choose yourself over what anybody else needs from you. Even when you try to protect your peace, that guilt rushes in. Am I disappointing them? Do they think I don't care? Do they hate me? But that guilt is not truth. It's just a response from your nervous system from those years of conditioning. And recognizing those patterns is the first step. It is something that can be undone and something that we will work on. So recognizing these patterns is the first step. But now let's talk about how we can shift those patterns. So here are 5 tools that are designed to help you say no without fear, without shame, without spiraling, and addressing those 4 mindset shifts. You don't have to burn bridges. You don't have to become aggressive. You just need to start honoring your needs as much as you have been honoring everybody else's needs. So first, create a yes pause. This is before you agree to anything, just pause. Let me get back to you. Or let me check my schedule. This gives your nervous system time to just regulate instead of defaulting to yes out of panic or out of pressure. This is not avoidance. This isn't saying I am not going to address this. This is saying I am going to just take a moment and check in with myself. And that's why we use reasons like, let me check my calendar, or let me get back to you, because you don't have to tell the other person what you're doing. You just have to give them a reason to not expect an answer immediately, and then that gives you some space to pause. Number 2, if you're feeling guilty, it's a signal for growth. It is not a signal to stop. It isn't a sign that you're doing something wrong. It's a sign that you're doing something different, something new, something that your body isn't used to. And so when guilt shows up, say to yourself, this means I'm healing. This means that this is a signal that I am doing the right thing. So rather than feeling guilt and saying, oh no, this is horrible, this is bad, I need to stop what I'm doing so I don't feel this guilt anymore, just be curious about your guilt. This is making me feel guilty. That means that I'm on the right track. Let me investigate this a little bit more. Number 3, have some scripts for no in your head. Most people say yes because they don't know how to say no. So take some time to write out a few just phrases that are firm but kind. Something like, you know what, really, thanks for thinking of me, but I can't do that. Or I would love to support you, but I really I don't have the bandwidth right now. Practice them aloud so that they become second nature, so that they're ingrained in your vocabulary, and that way you can call on them when somebody asks you to do something that you don't want to do, and you don't just immediately say yes. Number 4, what are your deal breakers? Start noticing where your energy drains. Who consistently asks too much of you? Where do you leave conversations feeling like, oh my gosh, they just sucked everything out of me? Write that down. Patterns are going to start to emerge. That's going to bring awareness, and you're going to start to recognize, every time I do that, I feel bad. Or every time I see that person, I feel exhausted. And that'll help you start to learn where you need to set boundaries. You knew it was coming. Mantras. Every morning, say this to yourself: my worth is not measured by how available I am to others. My worth is not measured by how available I am to others. It is safe for me to rest. It is safe for me to say no. Repeating these mantras until your body believes it, this is where the truth can start to change. Your neurons can get rewired, your nervous system can get new signals, things can really start to make a shift. So let's recap these 5 tools. Number 1, pause before you answer. Take a beat. Say, let me get back to you. Number 2, guilt is proof of change and progress, not of something that is wrong that you need to stop doing. Number 3, practice no scripts. Number 4, track who and what drains you and set your boundaries accordingly. Number 5, do your mantras. You are allowed to protect your peace. Say it to yourself every day. So if you've been nodding along through this whole video, then it is time for you to get clarity on where you are at on the burnout cycle. So take the burnout quiz. The link's in the description. It's quick. It's about 90 seconds to 2 minutes. It's free. You've got nothing to lose. It will bring the awareness to the situation that you need so that you can start putting some of these mindset shifts into place. You don't have to earn love by saying yes. You don't have to sacrifice yourself to be good. You are allowed to protect your peace. You are allowed to take up space, have emotions, have needs. You are very worthy, even when you say no. So again, if this resonated with you, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, share this video with other firstborn daughters who you know it will help, and then make sure that you watch this video next.